It's an Good morning, everyone. It's an absolute honor to have the greatest of the great writers, Mr. Ruskin Bond, and I'm having goosebumps rising to feel his presence. Let's all welcome him with a loud round of applause. The personality beyond imagination, the writing laureate, the one and only Mr. Ruskin Bond.
Thank you. Thank you for introducing me. And I look forward to talking to you and answering the questions from all your class fellows, school fellows. What a nice name your school has, Billabong. It sounds unusual, but I think it's named after that river in Australia, if I'm not mistaken. Well, so I'm ready. You go ahead and pepper me with your questions. I'll be happy to tell you anything I can about books, writing, learning, being a naughty schoolboy, anything on those lines.
Yes, thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful presence over here. And
Yes.
I have been reading your books and novels since a little child. Now I'm a doctor by profession. So I'm
Yes.
associated with the school as well. Would like to know about your journey, sir, as to how you came up with this writing concept and how you started writing. So a little bit about it. Thank you, sir.
Right. Well, it all started in my school days. I was a bookworm. I loved reading. And it's books and a love of books that actually lead one to become a writer. I think that's as true today as it was then. Um, well, there were very few schoolboys or girls who went in for writing when I was a boy. But I grew up on on the classics and other popular authors of the time. And by the time I'd finished school, I wanted to be a writer. And when I came home after doing my class 12, that was 1950, my goodness, over 70 years ago, my mother said, "Now, Ruskin, what are you going to do with yourself?" And I said, "Mom, I'm going to be a writer." She said, "Don't be silly, go and join the army." In those days, nobody wanted to be a writer. It wasn't a popular idea for a vocation or a profession. So, but I wasn't going to join the army either. I'd have been like Beetle Bailey, getting up early in the morning to go on parade and all that sort of thing didn't appeal to me. So anyway, I was sent off to England for 2-3 years. I took a job there. I didn't have money for further studies, but I went to 2 or 3 jobs, and I used to write in my spare time and evenings. And I wrote my first book when I was there. It was called The Room on the Roof. I was then 18 or 19 by the time it was published. And as soon as it was published or about to be published, I came back to India because my heart was here. My friends were here. Everything I loved was here in India. And I had no intention of settling abroad. So I came back and I started writing full time then. No jobs, but I wrote every month 4 or 5 stories, articles, and I bombarded all the magazines and newspapers in the land. And I managed to make a living from writing. That was 70 years ago, and I'm still doing it today. And I'm not tired as yet. So if you have any specific questions, please go ahead, students or teachers.
Yes, sir. So I'll be moderating the session. I will be asking the questions. They're already in the chat section. So
Yeah.
the children are asking, so what did you want to become when you were small? So you always wanted to become a writer. You've already answered that question.
Yes.
Now they are asking, who was your favorite poet, author, and journalist?
Oh, well, favorite author then was Charles Dickens. But he wrote very long books. I don't know if you'd have the patience to read them yourselves, but I liked Dickens. And then there were authors like Graham Greene and Somerset Maugham, and also entertaining writers like P.J. Wodehouse, who wrote funny books, Agatha Christie, who wrote detective stories. So I read all kinds of books and had many favorites, you could say. And today I still read them, old favorites, new books, and I like reading biographies, real life stories of people who've done interesting things. And I like reading adventure and history, travel, something of everything. I still read a lot. I was always been a bookworm, and I'm still a bookworm. And my rooms, you might get an idea from the screen, are full of books.
Yes, sir.
Um, Shishti here and her mother grumble away because you have to keep dusting books, huh? Otherwise they accumulate dust. Huh? um, so
Indeed, sir.
my New Year resolution will be I'll dust the books myself.
Yes,
So
sir.
that was
Thank you, sir.
so. Um, so carry on. Ask me
Yeah,
another.
yeah, thank you, sir, for that update. Now, sir, the next question the student is asking of 9AP, Kritika Khanna. She's asking, sir, I would like to pursue the field of literature myself, and I would appreciate any advice you have for me and the path I will follow henceforth.
You want to be a writer?
Yeah, yeah, she wants to become a writer, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I always encourage young people to write because it's good to be able to express yourself in words and good sentences. Um, if you want to make a vocation or career out of it, that's something else. It can be tough in the beginning. So I would always advise you to be fluent in your language, in whatever language you're going to use uh, for writing your books or stories or poems, whether it's English or Hindi or another language. Be fluent in it, have a good command of it, because that's the foundation of all writing, language. So having a good command of language means reading widely. So the more you read, the better you write. So my motto always is read well, write well. So that usually works out. Other advice is don't be disappointed if you have some rejections or failures in the beginning. I had them too. I went through some very difficult times and even for brief periods, had to take up the odd job. But if you want to make a lifetime full of writing, then persevere with it. Don't give up easily. Write what you write the sort of things that you enjoy writing. Don't. It shouldn't be a task. It should be a pleasure. In a way, in effect, it should be a passion. So let it be your passion, and nothing can stop you then. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Now, the next question the student is asking, sir, what obstructions did you face in your life while you were on the writing track? What all problems you underwent?
Yes, well, in the beginning, it was hard to make enough money, you see, because we can't live on fresh air. Writers need an income as well, and it's not a job. So you're not getting a salary unless you're an editor in a magazine or something. So you're not getting a salary. And even when you're old and gray like me, you're not going to get a pension. So you have to keep working and writing. So some of the difficulties along the way are occasionally shortages of money or going through difficult financial periods. Okay, but you'll overcome them if you're any good at your work. And then there'll be times when your creative faculties might not be at their best, and you might find it difficult to write a story or a novel or whatever you want to write, because you're just maybe brain tired, mentally fatigued. So sometimes and if you force yourself to write, it won't be good. You can't force yourself. So you have to be patient and go through these periods, these difficult periods, and you will if you're genuinely talented and if you have confidence in yourself. Self-confidence is very important.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So the next question the child is asking, sir, which is your favorite book which you have written?
Oh,
amongst all the books? Yes.
that's difficult one, because when you're actually writing a book or a story, and if you're enjoying the process of writing it, then that's the favorite, the one you're working on. So there have been many favorites. I think my first one, The Room on the Roof, like a first child, it's a favorite often with a parent. So, and that was, I put a lot of hard work into that first novel. I wrote it 2 or 3 times before it was accepted by a good publisher in London. So I worked hard on it. That's one of my favorites, The Room on the Roof. Then some of my short stories, like Night Train at Deoli and The Thief, and then Time Stops at Shamli. And later, I wrote stories for children, like The Blue Umbrella, Angry River, and so many, the Rusty stories, which are about myself as a boy in a way. So those are some of my favorites. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Sir, the next question the child is asking, sir, who was your inspiration and who provided you motivation while you were writing, and who is your idol in life? You
Well,
inspire, you get inspiration from.
my motivation was the writers I enjoyed reading, the great writers of that time, Dickens, Emily Bronte, Somerset Maugham, J.B. Priestley, so many writers. They motivated me through their work, through their writing. I never met them personally. It was very hard to meet a writer in those days because they were not familiar faces. Remember, going back 50, 60, 70 years, there was no television. There was no internet. So you couldn't, unless you personally met a writer, you wouldn't know what he looked like. Uh, Occasionally a photograph would appear in a paper, but that was about it. So writers were very often anonymous. So you got to know them through their work, through their writing. And that's the best way to get to know a writer, because you're then discovering what he's thinking and imagining and putting down in words, and not what he's saying. But so those were the motivators and some of the writers who influenced me. And you need some inspiration all your life when you're writing, not necessarily from books or writers. You can get it from the world around you. If you're interested in people and what's happening around you, I get it from nature, from trees, flowers, birds, animals. All these things come into my stories. So there's a wide variety of things that come into your life and interest you. Now, I know all of you are living in a big city, most of you in Kanpur. I suppose it's good to get out occasionally into the countryside, and you have the great river, the Ganga, going by, which I'm sure will also inspire you in many ways. So look for inspiration in your immediate surroundings, and you'll find it there. A writer should be able to write anywhere, not just on a hilltop as I am doing, but all right, in a busy city like Kanpur or the capital New Delhi, or in the palm-fringed Kerala coast, or just anywhere. If you are fond of writing, you will find a place where you can write, and it should be a nice desk, or maybe a sunny room, and you need a little peace and quiet, and then nothing can stop you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Now, sir, like the child is asking, who supported your decision when you
Nobody.
started? Yes, sir.
Who supported my decision to write? No
Yes, sir.
one. No one. Nobody wanted me to write. They said I'm wasting my time. And in those days, you see, very few people made a living from writing. So they said, what are you going to do for a living? You need a job. You have to have a career. You must go to further studies and do all sorts of things. But I was determined to be a writer. Maybe I was overconfident. But anyway, they couldn't stop me. And I succeeded with what I wanted to do. If you're determined and you have the confidence in yourself, you don't need anyone to support you or give you a push.
Sir, very good question. A child has asked, sir, how do you come up with nice stories? How do you come up with such brilliant ideas?
Well, the one thing, you have to be observant as a writer. See what's happening around you. Take an interest in people. People are important. People are stories. In wildlife, animals, the life in your city, the life in your village, wherever you happen to live, then you become a realistic writer. But you can, if you have a good imagination, well, you can write fantasy, you can write science fiction, you can create a world of your own. So there are different kinds of writing, and it depends on your natural abilities and your interests and your talent. All these come together.
Yeah, thank you, sir. A child, a very innocent question, is asking, sir, what was the reason for your success? How you became so successful?
Well, basically by persevering, because in the beginning there were a few failures and it was difficult, but by sheer persistence, by not giving up, by being confident in one's own abilities, all these things help. Um, so you mustn't just give up, whatever, not just writing, anything you're doing in life. You might have a few setbacks or failures, but if you're really keen on what you're doing or what you want to do, you won't let those failures or setbacks come in your way. So you'll try and try again, try and fail, try and fail, try and succeed finally.
Yeah, thank you, sir. That was brilliant. Sir, a very good question again. Sir, which book made you cry or you felt sentimental about?
Oh, yes, lots of books. I love that book, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. It's a classic. Other books that, of course, Dickens's Oliver Twist and David Copperfield, they had some very moving parts in them. But I don't read books in order to cry. I read them in order to laugh too. So you can read, or to be thrilled. So read Treasure Island for adventure, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde for mystery, The Three Men in a Boat for fun. Um, and so different books appeal to different um, times of the day or your own propensities, for joy, laughter, tears. You get something from different books, or sometimes great books, say like David Copperfield, have something of everything. It has laughter, it has tears, it has humor, it has adventure. So you take your choice. You read what you want to read, and don't force yourself to read books that don't interest you, because then you turn against literature and reading. So you must enjoy your reading. Otherwise, don't read. You must enjoy it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir. Sir, the next question is, are you thinking of writing any new book now, currently?
I've got one or two books coming out in the coming year, and I'm going to write one or two new stories. Nothing very, I can't read fat books myself, so prefer writing short stories these days. And even memoirs. I start looking back on my school days or youth and writing about those days. Nice thing about getting old is that you got so much to look back upon and to write about. Because when I started, only when I was 17 or so, well, I only had 17 years of experience or of life. So I was a bit limited. But now I can look back on over 80 years of joy and tears and all the other things that you and I have to go through at some time in our lives. There, my throat is going now, so I'll take one or two more questions if you like. How long have we been at it there?
20 minutes.
We'll take another 5-10 minutes. Come, carry on. The sound is gone, I think.
No, they're able to hear you.
Hmm?
Hello, are we audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is there any other question?
Yeah, one last question. Yeah.
Please,
Sorry,
please.
I was on mute. Yeah.
Yeah.
The question is like, sir, a child is asking, what made you so successful? What was your success mantra, that how you became so successful?
There's no mantra. I think, as I said earlier, it is hard work, basically. If you're good at something and you work hard at it, you will be successful. But if you're good at something and you don't work hard at it, you won't succeed. Because talent is not enough, you must put it to good use. So be clever, be intelligent. If you have certain skills, be good at something and work at it steadily over a period of time, and you will definitely be successful. But if you're lazy, then and don't put all your talents to use, good use, then you can't expect to be successful. It's not just going to come and sit in your lap. So hard work based on your gifts or talents or what you learn.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
So these were the questions from our side. There are so many other questions also, but we won't trouble you much. You already have apprised us so beautifully on each and every aspect of your writing and how we should lead our lives actually to be observant and how to see the qualities in our attributes in the other people around. So that was very nice. Thank you, sir. Agastya, would you like to continue?
Carry on.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you to
Agastya?
the utmost for being with us.
Thank you,
Thank
Agastya.
you.
Thank you so
For
much.
enlightening us and for
And
giving us the experience of a lifetime.
thank you. Very good questions. I hope my answers will be helpful to you. And I wish all of you and successful school life and fulfilling life afterwards, a good career, and all the success that you want to pursue. Be successful, be happy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank
It
you
was a
so much,
lovely
sir.
session. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
On behalf of the entire school, students, parents, and teachers, we are humbly grateful to you that you were here. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Billabong International School. Good.